In this video, we will learn how to find consumer surplus when we are being given non-linear demand function. The question is, given the demand function is P is equal to 42 minus 5Q minus Q square, P is the price and Q is the quantity. Assuming the value of equilibrium price to be 6, we need to find out the consumer surplus. Options are being given, we need to find out the correct option, okay? So, basically what we are being given the demand function is P is equal to 42 minus 5Q minus Q square. Also we are being given the equilibrium price to be equal to 6. We need to find out the consumer surplus. Okay, so if I draw it graphically, it will make more sense. Let us say we have the graph like this. We have quantity on the horizontal axis and price on the vertical axis. Okay, we have this inverse demand function. It is a quadratic function. Its intercept is 42. Okay, let us say this point denotes 42. Okay, and it will look like this. If you draw it on graphically, it will look like this. Okay, this is our demand function. Also we are being given that the equilibrium price is 6. Let us say this point denotes 6. Okay, so we have 42 here. We need to find out the consumer surplus. What is consumer surplus? Let's write it is demand function here. Okay, so consumer surplus is simply the difference between the price that a consumer is willing to pay and the price what actually he is paying. So actually he is paying 6 and the consumers will be willing to pay more than 6 because this is the demand function. Equilibrium price is 6, so some consumers will be able to are willing to pay a price greater than 6, that is 7, 8, 9 up to 42. We need to find out the consumer surplus. Now consumer surplus will be simply the area between the equilibrium price and the demand curve. That means the area which is below the demand curve and above the equilibrium price will give us the consumer surplus. We need to find out the area of this very region. Okay, so first thing is what we need to find out. When price is equal to 6, we need to find out the equilibrium quantity. So if price is equal to 6, let's put here P is equal to 6. That implies 6 will be equal to 42 minus 5Q minus Q square. Okay, or we can write it in this fashion, that is Q square minus 5Q, rather it is minus 5Q square minus 5Q plus 42 minus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, so let us multiply both sides by minus 1. We will get Q square plus 5Q. Okay, so we have Q square plus 5Q, 42 minus 6. It comes out to be, let me write it here, 36 first. Okay, so we have here 36. It will become minus 36. Okay, I hope you know what I am doing here. It is a quadratic function. We can split the middle term in such a way we should get the sum of two numbers equal to 5 and the product of same two numbers. Let me write it. We should get the sum of two numbers in such a way that their addition is equal to 5 and the product of same two numbers should be equal to the constant term, which is minus 36. And you can guess it here. It will be 9 minus 5, that is 9 into minus 5. So 9 minus 5, sorry, 9 minus 4 actually it is here. It is 4. Okay, so 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 into minus 4 is 36. Okay, so I can write this function in this form, that is Q square. In place of 5Q, I will write 9Q, then minus 4Q, and in place of 36, I can write 9 into minus 4 should be equal to 0. I am splitting the middle term here to factor out here. Okay, So let's factor these out. In the first two terms we can take q common, we are left with q plus 9. In the next two terms we can take minus 4 common and we are left with q plus 9 should be equal to 0, which implies if I take q plus 9 again common, q plus 9 common, I will be left with q minus 4 is equal to 0, which implies either q plus 9 is equal to 0, which gives us q is equal to minus 9, or q minus 4 is equal to 0, which gives us q is equal to plus 4. Okay, q is equal to minus 9 does not make sense because quantity cannot be negative. So we take the positive quantity, that is q is equal to 4. That means when price was 6, quantity is equal to 4. Okay, now what will be the consumer surplus? Consumer surplus is simply equal to, consumer surplus will be equal to the definite integral from 0 to equilibrium quantity, and we take the integral of demand function, that is p dq, and to this we subtract the total expenditure, that is p into q, which implies 0 to equilibrium quantity is 4 because we are rejecting the negative quantity here, and demand function is 42 minus 5q minus q square. Okay, to this we subtract the total expenditure, that is price into output. Price is being given us as 6, and quantity or output is 4. I will write here quantity, it will make more sense. That means our consumer surplus will be equal to, let's take the integral of this function. So we are left with the integral of 42 is 42q, okay, from the rules of integration, minus 5, the integral of q is q square upon 2, minus the integral of q square is q cube upon 3, and evaluated from 0 to 4. To this we subtract 6 into 4, that is 24. Okay, let's solve it. So consumer surplus will be equal to, now we need to evaluate these terms at upper limit, then subtract and evaluate these terms at lower limit. Since lower limit is 0, we will not evaluate it at there because it will become 0. So let's evaluate it at upper limit. That means putting q is equal to 4 in each of these terms. So we have 42 into 4 minus 5 into 4 square divided by 2 minus 4 cube divided by 3. Then we subtract and evaluate it at lower limit. So we put q is equal to 0 in each of the terms. It will become 0. So I will not write that very stuff here. Minus 24. Okay. Now if we solve it, it will become, so consumer surplus will be equal to, so it is here 4 2s are 8, 4 4s are 16, so it is 168 minus, so it is 4 4s are 16 divided by 2, so it is 5 into 16 divided by 2 is 16 divided by 2 is 8, so 5 into 8 minus 4 4s are 16, 4s are 64 divided by 3 minus 24. Okay, so doing this stuff here again, and let me see if I have the space left. Kaisa space mojud. So our consumer surplus will be equal to, we have 168 minus 5 8s are 40 minus 64 will be equal to 3 2s are 6, 3 1s are 3, I think 3 3s are 9. Okay, again the 3 3s are 9 minus 24. Okay, now let us do, which comes out to be 168. Do the calculation here. So we have I have done this calculation. It comes out to be, okay, I don't have the space, it comes out to be 82.7. okay, that means our consumer surplus will be equal to 82.7. So graphically what exactly is meant by this term, and let me write it here. It simply means this term, okay, this term means uh, first we take, or let me show it here. First we find out the area of this whole curve. Let me write it here, whole curve. So this is being, corroborated by this very term, that is integral from 0 to equilibrium quantity p dq. To this we subtract this total expenditure, that is this stuff. Okay, so first we find out the area of this whole region. From this we subtract this region, we get this shaded region, and which is our consumer surplus. I hope I make myself clear. Thank you.